Hello, my friends. Welcome back. So today's episode wasn't even on the calendar, but something kind of cool happened this morning. And I thought, you know what? This is worth sharing. It's important enough that I want to be able to spread this message a lot farther than just in my text community. So I sent out a message this morning, something along the lines of, everything doesn't have to be solved right now. Breathe, relax, patience, and live in the moment. And just so you know, this is my text service. If you're not part of it, you should be, 702-500-1668. But it's actually me sending these messages. And the messages that I send are things that I am telling myself anytime throughout the day that I think, you know what, other people could probably benefit from hearing this too. So I sent that message out because I had a cruddy end to the day before. My podcast stuff wasn't ready when it was supposed to be, and I was just irritated, and it transferred over into me kind of like being up later than I'm used to because I'm so scheduled and regimented. I had to finish my book and yada, yada. So then I woke up and I just was kind of behind the 8 ball to start the day. And Thursdays are my days in the recording studio. And so I had a guest scheduled via Zoom, and then I had 2 other episodes that I'm going to record of my own. And so I just was off this morning. And so like I always do, in order to like really be at the top of my game before I go into the studio, I always work out, because when you move your body, it automatically elevates your mood and can completely turn your day around. So I lifted some heavy weight, and then I jumped on the rower and I was doing some row repeats. And as I was doing that, I felt kind of like more calm come over my body. I started to feel a little happier and just letting go of some of the stress that I was feeling. But in that moment, I told myself, you know what? You don't have to solve all the problems right now. I had been running through this laundry list of items that were like, man, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this. Like, there's so many things I need to change. There's so many things I need to tackle. It's like, and I just stopped and told myself, you know what? You're not even allowing yourself to enjoy this moment, which is the only moment we actually have, is the current moment. That's it. What we've already done, the past is gone. What we're hoping for in the future is not here yet. The only moment we actually really should be savoring is the one we're in. But I found myself just kind of making this laundry list of all these things that I needed to do. And so I stopped myself and said, look, you do not have to solve the world's problems right now. And in trying to do that, you're not even enjoying what is my favorite day of the week. Thursdays, where I get to have awesome conversations with people. I love it. And where I get to sit down and record messages for everybody else out there. This is my favorite day. And I almost kind of neglected to really cherish this day because I was trying to solve all the world's problems right now. So I sent out this message, and here's why this was worth sharing with all the rest of you. The number of responses I got back from it, my phone just started lighting up. I was like, oh shit. Like, a lot of times people just get these messages and they don't necessarily text me back. Or they give me a thumbs up or thank you. But today, the messages started just streaming in the second I sent this text out. And yes, I do send these, and yes, I do read every single one of them. Sometimes I can't get back to everybody, but I actually am the one that's sending these messages and getting back to you if I have the chance. And I'm usually able to get back to a good number of people. But the message I got from everyone is what I wanted to share. And that was, every single person said, man, Evie, this is exactly what I needed to hear right now. This message was so relevant to me. Thank you for sharing that. And while I get those kind of messages daily, I don't typically get them from like almost every single person in that text community. And I thought, you know what? I need to let people know this is a perfect example that you are not alone. And there's so much power in knowing that other people are muddling through life the exact same way that you are. There is comfort. I got comfort in getting all these messages back because I was struggling with that. I was struggling with trying to solve the world's problems right now and completely destroying the current moment in the path. And it was comforting to me to know that, you know what, I'm glad I shared this message because everybody else out there is going through exactly what I am. And that's powerful. It's comforting to know that we're not alone. And another piece of this that I think is worth pointing out is that we are supposedly living in a time where we are, quote unquote, overly connected. But are we really? We may be over-connected with things that don't matter, but I would argue that we are actually living through a time of complete and utter disconnection. We are connected to so much noise out there and so much information and so many issues are being thrown at us left and right that we may feel that we're over-connected, but really we're lacking that connection as human beings. So while I always encourage people to disconnect from the internet, and I know that sounds crazy because in order for you to ever hear my message, you have to be on the internet. But I do that because I think it's important for us to disconnect more from what doesn't matter and to be able to quiet some of the noise in our life. But I would encourage you to actually get more connected to real people. Make it a point once a day or maybe just once a week, whatever you feel like you are needing. And whenever you feel like particularly kind of on your own and struggling, reach out and connect to someone real. That's why I love that text service because it's kind of my pathway to connecting with people. And little do all of you that are in that community even realize that I actually get as much, if not more, from sending out those texts than you guys get from receiving them. Because it is my way to stay connected. Staying connected to people that are on the same path that I am, that are really genuinely trying to live their best life. And that is a fantastic feeling. And then another piece that came to my mind as I was kind of just relishing the joy that I got in knowing that all of these people responded well to just a simple message that I had to send out, and recognizing that people are feeling quite alone. We struggle and we're not really supposed to talk about it. We struggle and we just tell ourselves that everybody else is going about their merry business and they're not struggling like we are, which is absolutely not true. Everybody's going through it. And the last piece of this that I want to share is that this is why I don't like the notion or the idea of associating or labeling ourselves into groups. Like yes, we've been playing identity politics for a really long time now, but it's spilling out into just everyday life. We are now grouping ourselves according to just every imaginable category out there. Women, white women, underprivileged women, Black women, Latino women, white males, gay white males, lesbians, transgender, and the list of all the other ones, right? I think there were 17 the last time I looked. We are limiting our ability to connect as humans when we choose to only label ourselves and connect with people of a certain group. We don't need more group identity. We need less. We need human experience. We need to identify as humans collectively. Isolating ourselves into groups is really just causing more isolation. And if you could see what I see on this end, people don't want to be isolated. People thank me for saying, you know what, thank you for sharing this message with me, Evie, because I pretty much feel alone. That's not what they typed out, but that's what every single person was saying to me when they responded back to that text, that was exactly what they needed to hear. They needed to hear they aren't alone. So enough with the identifying as a group. You are so much more than that. You are so much more than your race or your gender or your ethnicity or your occupation. You are so much more than that. We are missing out on sharing and connecting with our fellow humans because we are so focused on the wrong things. So here's the truth I'm going to leave you with today. You aren't alone. All of us on this planet have a shared human experience. All of our experiences are not going to be the same, except these two things. We are all born and we are all going to die. And think about how much comfort we really could get from one another if we embraced one another and tried to identify with every other human out there and not just people who we so-called belong to the same group as. Reach out to people. Turn off the noise and turn on human connection. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.